Hello and welcome to the Middle-earth Play-by-Mail fan channel. Lovely to have you with us. I've decided I want to do a short series looking at the role that characters play within the game. Now, I've often said that Middle-earth Play-by-Mail is a character-based game, and even though there are many aspects to the game, there's economics, there are armies, there's building up towns and castles and all these wonderful things that we love about the fantasy world of Tolkien's Middle-earth, as a game it's characters that help drive the narrative, and it's characters through whom you issue orders and you interact with the world. So if you want to move an army, you have to have a character that does it. If you want to build a castle, you have to have a character that issues that command. If you want to raise lots of money, you have to have a character that sells lots of goods to do it. So characters are integral to the game. So why not spend a bit of time talking about the role that characters play within it? And what better place to start than my subject today, which is creating new characters, or naming characters as the mechanic is called. Now, you start in a standard 1650 game of Middle-earth, and I think pretty much most of the other variants, one or two maybe you don't, but certainly 2950 and 4th Age, which are the other two I have so far played in my Middle-earth gaming career. You start with 8 preset characters, and they come with their skills of whatever they may be, and their name is preset. But after that, it's up to you to name new characters and train them up, and you get to have an influence as to what sort of character they are. Now, the number of characters you can have, again within the standard game formats, is limited. So you start off with 8 characters, but you can have up to 12. So you can straight away have 4 free character slots to start filling. As the game goes on, so you can expand the number of people you have with whom to interact with the game world. So at turn 6 it increases by another 3, so you can get up to 15 characters, and then at turns 11 and 16 and 21 you get an extra 2 each time, taking you to 21 characters in all if the game is still going at turn 21. And keeping track of all the actions of 21 characters and them interacting together is quite a joy, if sometimes a bit more demanding than the initial 8 characters you have in turn 0. So there are 5 orders you can use to create a new character. In order to name a new character, you have to have somebody in your capital to do it. You can't name a character out in the backwoods or out on the field just knighting someone in an army because they've done a good job. Nope, it has to happen in the capital. It also requires money to do it. So, issuing the 725 name character order allows you to name a character of any class, even if the character issuing the order to name them has no rank in that class, and it costs 10,000 gold pieces. The limits that you have are that you are allowed 30 points of skill rank to allocate between the different skill classes: commander, agent, emissary and mage. And you have to allocate them in blocks of 10, so you can't do 15, 15 or 10, 10, 5 and 5. It has to be in blocks of 10. This is particularly useful if you don't have a particular sort of character, or if you've only got someone with, say, rank 10 in that category and they're the best that you've got. So you can instantly address a lack in the overall portfolio of characters you have with a name character order, which has to be given by someone with command skill, but they can just have command skill of 10 and they can issue that, and they can say, I want to name someone and I'm going to put all 30 points into the skill rank of agent, and then you've got a rank 30 agent. The other 4 orders are all specific to each of the skill types. 728 name commander, 731 of name agent, 734 of name emissary, and 737 of name mage, should anyone ever wish to use that. What this order does is that the person issuing it has to have some skill rank in that particular skill. So a commander names a commander, an agent names an agent, and so forth. And you will get up to 30 points starting as a single class character, as a new character in that range. And I say up to 30, it would be 30 unless the character you are using to name them has less skill than that. So you couldn't use a rank 10 mage to name a rank 30 mage. They would only be a rank 10 mage. So normally you will want a character rank 30 or above to use this skill. Sometimes you might be particularly pushed and you might think, actually, I've got a rank 29 agent. These skills, 728, 731, 734 and 737, they only cost 5,000 gold as opposed to name character, which is 10,000. So you might think, well, it'll save me 5 grand and it's only going to be 1 or 2 points, so you might do it that way. The other thing which needs to be said with these skills is that sometimes a nation will have a special nation ability of name character of type whatever it is up to rank 40, which means you can use these orders, and if your character issuing the order has a rank above 30, it will go to that character's rank up to a maximum of 40. So if you've got a rank 57 emissary who just happens to be in the capital, they can issue name emissary, and if you can name emissary up to rank 40, so for example Northman or Quiet Avenger, you will get a rank 40 emissary straight off. This is particularly useful because with many characters the difference between rank 30 and rank 40 is often significant on whether they will be able to issue some orders, and if they do, how good they will be at it. So commanders wanting to change tax rate, or emissaries wanting to create a camp, or mages wanting to learn some spells, agents for some of the low to mid ranking agent skills. If you're at rank 40, you've just got that extra bit more than at rank 30. So that character can get on and do that without having to just hang around and train for a few turns. So it's useful to know if your nation has one of those special nation abilities. Note that having that special nation ability of name up to rank X only works with the class specific skills. You can't issue a name character order and say, oh yeah, I would like to name a character at rank 40 with my little commander who's there, and I can name mages at rank 40. Can I have a rank 40 mage, please? No, you can't. It has to be a mage, and with the name mage order. Now, thinking about name character, you obviously realise that there are various types of multi-class character that you could bring about through this order. And they all have their different functions, their different uses, their strengths and weaknesses. So I'm just going to go briefly through some of those. By far the most common multi-class character would be a command agent. By having both command and agent rank, it makes them very useful in multiple functions. First of all, they are very good backup commanders. They can just sit there as a secondary commander as an army moves around, and every turn they can either recon with their command skill, or they can train up one lot of the troops within the army, which will improve their command skill. And they can also issue an agent skill. Even if they're low level, they can be guarding the main character, giving him some defense as the army goes around, and that also trains them up. So command agents are pretty useful to train up. Command agents are also very useful for running companies, because they can move and they can scout for characters as they go. So as you land, as they can move into somewhere, find out if there are any characters to worry about, and that really helps you with a company, if you've got a company of other agents or a company of emissaries, to assess the threat that you're moving into. Command agents are also very useful because they can stay within your capital. Command skills in the capital can be useful, and they're just very easy to train up, whether they're in a population centre just sitting issuing recruit orders. The command skill has quite a lot of orders that need a command skill but don't need a command skill that's particularly high, so any commander can recruit. So if you've got a great knight rank 50, 60, 70, they can be doing more important things, while your rank 10 commander, rank 20 agent is rallying the troops and recruiting people, and also using an agent skill at the same time to usually guard and train themselves up. Next to look at would be the command emissary. This is in many ways less useful because the function of a commander and the function of an emissary are quite different. An emissary is usually wanting to move into hexes where there are where there is nothing there, so that they can name new camps. And then when they've done that, they're wanting to move to your existing camps and improve their loyalty, upgrade them, make them into villages into towns, and so forth. Whereas commanders either want to be fairly static in the capital or a large major town, recruiting, issuing capital orders, or they want to be going out, leading an army, charging against the enemy. The other thing to note is, even if you think, well, I want someone to be ferrying troops around a lot, maybe he could post camps, place camps as he moves with his emissary skill. A commander could also issue the post camp order and do that as well. Slightly more expensive, but when you consider it would be 10,000 gold to name a rank 10 commander, rank 20 emissary, you may as well just name a rank 30 commander. It's cheaper, and they'll get the job done. The other thing to note, however, with a command emissary, there might be some specific circumstances where you want a commander who you know is just going to be sitting at your capital, or sitting in a major town, or a forward recruiting base, or maybe you've posted a sneaky camp right at the back of the enemy's territory, just off map, and you're wanting to every turn recruit and improve this population centre that you're in. In that case, a command emissary can be useful, but generally they're not as common as the command agents. Command mage, I'm actually going to mention that in reference to anything involved with mages, and I wouldn't recommend naming a multi-class mage from the start at all if you can help it. Partly because, well, mainly because mages are only really start to get useful once they get up to around about rank 40, and they can start to learn easy spells with a decent level of casting rank, and then push up towards rank 50 and look at learning some average spells. Now, if you've got someone who starts out with a mage rank of 10 or 20, they're going to just have to sit in one of your population centres issuing order 710 Prentice Magery every single turn for some time before they even start to reach vaguely useful level. So you've got this, let's say you've got a rank 20 commander and you want him to have a little bit of magic woo, and you give him a rank 10 mage. He will take, well, let's say you get between 3 and 4 points of skill every time you issue the order. So that's 7 every 2 turns. So that's going to be 14 in 4 turns. To get up to rank 40, you're going to be looking about 7 or 8 turns before your rank 10 mage is actually getting to the threshold of being slightly useful. You may as well just name a commander, or just name if you want extra mages, just name a rank 30 mage and start training them from there. To get from rank 30 to 40, maybe do that in 3 turns, then you can start doing some useful stuff. If you start out with a great multi-classed mage like Elrond or Círdan or Murazor, well done, brilliant, you will have great fun with them. So generally, I wouldn't advise including mages in a multi-class. The other multi-class not involving mage I've yet to mention would be an agent emissary. Again, you hardly ever see them, partly because emissaries tend to be a little bit more defensive, staying in your own territory, trying to improve loyalty and improve ranks, whereas agents tend to be wanting to cause damage to your opponents. So as soon as they're up to rank 40 or so, you get them out there stealing gold, and then they get good enough to start kidnapping and assassinating and sabotaging. So again, agent emissary doesn't happen too much. There is sometimes an argument to be made for just sticking one rank of agent in a multi-class if you can, and that's because if the character were to be kidnapped, their chances of escape are partly based on their agent rank relative to the agent rank of the person who has kidnapped or imprisoned them. And so in that case, a little bit of agent rank, and agent rank is quite easy to train up if you've got a spare order. If there's someone else around, you guard them. If you're in a population centre, you can guard it. Agent rank is quite easy to train up. So you might want to do that. The only thing to mention otherwise is a triple class character. So noting that I've already ruled out naming any mages at rank 10 if I can help it, that would be a command agent emissary rank 10 in each. Now that might seem appealing and you might think, yeah, given enough time I could train them up to be rank 100 in all three and they'd be absolute legends. The problem you get, and it's a nice problem to have, but the problem you get is you only still have 2 orders per turn. So you can either train up 2 of them and one of them is kind of left not really doing anything, or you spread the training across all 3, and like multi-class characters in D&D and other things, they don't actually progress very quickly. And so if turn 1 you've got a command 10, agent 10, emissary rank 10, how long will it take before, particularly in agent and emissary, they're up to about rank 40 and able to do something useful other than just turn up to receive their wages each turn? Some time, I suspect. So you might want one of those, but generally with multi-class I would stick with command agents, occasionally command emissary if you have a very specific job. Now, apart from deciding what their character ranks across the different skill rank classes are going to be, there are 2 other bits of information you provide whenever you issue a name character or name commander, agent, emissary type order. That is their gender, straightforward M/F, male or female. This has no effect on rule mechanics. You can tell also this game was created in the late 80s, early 90s, in that you have a straight binary choice between male and female. I'll just leave that there. And then a character name. Now, character names do have a very small strategic side to them. Characters are identified within Middle-earth Play by Mail by the program that runs it by the first 5 characters in that name, all lowercase. So in the terms of Elrond, it's E-L-R-O-N. So if you want to name another character which has that unique 5-character reference, you can't do it if they still exist in the game. However, if you have a suspicion that someone, that a character has been killed, but you're not sure about it, you know, maybe they're an agent or something, or they went into an encounter, when you're not sure, well, there are different ways of trying, but one way is if you happen to be naming a new character, you name one who would use the same first 5 letters as the character you suspect to be dead. So if you think Elrond is dead, you think, right, well, I'm going to name a new character, E-L-R-O-N. They've got to start with Elron. I would like to present you with my new command agent, Elron Hubbard. All one word, Elron Hubbard. And if that name goes through, if the game doesn't turn around and say, sorry, Elron is already taken, I have assigned you a completely different name. If you do get the name Elron Hubbard, then you can be sure that Elrond is dead. So there's a very small little strategic side to naming there. I have seen people as well use naming to try and confuse players as a defensive technique. And so, for example, the Aethraim commander Markared is spelt M-A-H-R-C at the beginning. And I have come across people who have said, well, let's name all the other commanders that we create for the Aethraim being a slightly different variant of Markared. So they'd call one Markared M-A-H-C-A-R-E-D, and another Markared M-A-R-H-C-A-R-E-D, and another one as Markared M-A-R-C-H-A-R-E-D. Now this is perfectly legal within the game, but personally I think it's a bit rubbish. One of the things about naming characters isn't just to see how you can pull one over on the enemy so they think, ah, yes, I will assassinate Markared, and it comes back next turn and says, sorry, he wasn't there. But you see, but he was. And you double check and you realise that it was a subtly different spelling, as if your agent sidles into a pub with a note saying, kill Margaret, and he looks around the bar, and there are all these beefy horse lords drinking their pints, and your agent says, well, sorry, there's no one called Margaret here. There's Maharkared and Maharkared and Mark Harred over there, but not the one I've got written down here. It's just ridiculous. So I'm not a personal fan of that tactic, although I have seen it being used and I have seen people fall for it. Personally, I think one of the real strengths of Middle-earth Play-by-Mail is that the whole game takes place in Tolkien's Middle-earth, and I'm a bit of a purist, and so I like to pick a theme, ideally that fits with Tolkien's world, or if not, a theme that kind of fits what it is you're wanting to be doing, and then you stick with it. So you at least have a cohesive feel of a culture for that particular nation. Now, some people might say this can give away some information. So yes, you do have to be careful. If you were playing the dwarves and you thought, I know what, I'm going to name 3 agents, and they'll never know they're dwarven agents, and we'll call them Beefer, Bofer and Bomber after those 3 fine dwarves in The Hobbit, well, everyone's going to see straight away that they belong to the dwarven nation. However, given that unless you're in a gunboat game, everyone on the teams talks to each other, if you're there on the Dark Servants and suddenly an agent turns up in one of your places and is called Bomber, you're not going to go, maybe that isn't a free person agent after all. Maybe one of my side. You'll know straight away it's a free people agent. So the fact that it's also the dwarves doesn't give you much else extra. So I would always say pick names that really fit a theme and stick with them. Don't call them Leroy Jenkins. You might think it's funny, but the rest of the people playing, wanting to immerse themselves in Middle-earth, are going to be stuck with Commander Leroy Jenkins for the next year or two the game goes on. Right, so that's it. Or you could just take the strategy that some people take of just leave the character name bit blank and let the game choose one for you. Well, that's about everything I can think of for naming characters. I'm going to be coming back with the next episode where I'm probably going to look at, training characters up. You've got your newly named character. How do you make them a great Lord of Middle-earth? How do you get their skill ranks absolutely up there so they can get out and do amazing things? I hope you've liked this video. Do give us a like below. It's always encouraging to see a thumbs up on the videos we put together. If you want to know about future programs coming out, do subscribe to the channel, and that's also a further encouragement to me doing all of this stuff. But apart from that, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and take care.